we're just giving people time to log on wherever you're at. But let's go ahead and get started just for sake of time, because this is a very juicy topic that we are eager to share with you. If you haven't been to any of our Hindsight is 2020 webinar series episodes, we are very excited to take a deep dive now into the series of marketing series. So we did a great launch last week talking about branding. We did a special episode last Tuesday with lip gloss and aftershave. And today we have a great panel that's going to talk to you about some of the lesser known social media platforms to our spas, which will be LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Twitter. Then next Monday, we're going to be talking about Facebook. And the following Monday, we're going to be going into a deep dive of Instagram. So today, I'm excited to welcome our three panelists. We have Super Dave, who's going to talk to us about LinkedIn and how we can use LinkedIn for our business, as well as Mark. If you don't know Mark, he's known as Mark the Spa Guy.
Spa man.
Mark the Spa Man. And Laura, I don't know if Laura has a really fun nickname, but
not yet.
Laura is coming to us also from Maine. So her and I are both located in the beautiful, great state of Maine today. And Laura is going to talk to us about Pinterest for business. So let me have each of our panelists just do a quick introduction of themselves and maybe start to talk a little bit about what each platform, means for a business. So a lot of times we think of Pinterest, right, as pinning food, lifestyle, trips that I want to take, home renovations. I know that's one that I've been pinning like crazy. But do people look up going to spas on Pinterest? Like,
oh, most definitely.
You want to know, right? Laura's going to tell us all this. And Mark's going to talk a little bit about Twitter, and we think of, who are our famous Twitter people, right, that send all these crazy tweets, reserved for politicians, rock stars, sports figures, and celebrities, not us in the spa world and our clients looking for it. And then Super Dave is going to talk to us about LinkedIn, and I just love to call him Super Dave. But is it more than a digital resume? Like, how can I use it to better my business and, better myself even, So Dave, why don't we start with you, a quick intro, and give us some teasers about LinkedIn?
Okay, so just real quick, I am a managing partner and founder of Day One Experts. It's an economic development consulting firm. And then I have DaveQuinn247.com, which is a speaking and coaching. I'm a life coach, mindset coach. I've been in the economic development world for since 2004. So I've been using social media to market communities, which is sort of a non-traditional, it's a non-traditional product, right? It's not like people are buying and selling stuff, but I've figured out how to leverage social media to create a brand around a community and engage with the right audience that's seeking out my communities. They want to move a business into my community. I help them do that through social media. I have risen in LinkedIn. I'm a power user in LinkedIn. I have an all-star profile and well over 5,000 organic connections in LinkedIn that I've used and leveraged to have success throughout my career. And so now I do a lot of talking around social media and how do you leverage those tools for marketing. LinkedIn is one of my favorite because people do sort of forget that it's there and they think of it as just a digital resume. But if you're selling to someone, especially a professional, someone who has dollars to spend, then, it's kind of like making sure you're going to the right fishing hole. There's a lot of fish in that pond. And so you just have to engage and get in there. So that's what LinkedIn is. I think we could leverage that, or spa owners could leverage that. You want me to go ahead and talk about that, Julie, or do you want to do introductions all the way around?
Yeah, let's do quick intros all the way around, and then we'll come back to you, Dave, and take a little bit of a deeper dive into LinkedIn. And if I could think of any questions as we go. Also, a reminder to everyone that's joining us today, if you have any questions, drop them down in the chat box, and I'll be monitoring them so that we can make sure that we get your questions answered as we go along. So thank you, Dave. Mark, if you want to do a quick intro.
Okay. I'm Mark the Spa Man, and I think I moved to Dallas, Texas, to the DFW area in 2008 to open up the first Massage Heights in the DFW area, but that didn't last long. That was the first one of the big recessions, but I reinvented myself at that time into Mark the Spa Man on digital. I bought the website, the name of the whole thing. So I subsequently got a job at Dermascope magazine where I started doing the same thing, and I launched all that for them at Dermascope magazine, and I got to go to all the trade shows and do the speeches on social media and how to do it back then. So I've continued on with digital, with Twitter, the whole thing, but it's not just one little thing. It's not just Twitter, but it's a whole thing. It's like Pinterest is important, obviously. LinkedIn is important for business to business, and especially now that everything, because of COVID, everything is going online. I've been a big proponent of B2C, B2B, and B2Direct. So 6 years ago, I also worked at another company where we sold to the consumer, you sold B2B, and you also sold to the trade shows, went to the trade shows, but we also sold on Amazon. So the world has to be changing now because the old method of selling, the old ways of doing things are just not happening. So I'm a big proponent of course, getting on digital, but it has to be a whole package and finding the right audience for yourself, for your company, for the people in your area, for your spa or for your wellness clinic. So that's my little thing, but thank you.
Thank there we go. Mark, welcome. And Laura, welcome.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. My name is Laura McDowell. I am the founder of Laura McDowell Creative. It is a digital design and design template company. So I have an online shop for templates as well as a design service where I do a VIP kind of design day experience. Really, my business was started with the goal of helping business owners, especially small businesses, solo business owners, streamline and simplify processes and understand where they need to be focusing their efforts so that they can make sure that they're focusing on the right things to help move the needle in their business. So I love everything that's design related, including pin design. So that's one of my big things. I got into helping people with effective Pinterest pin design. And of course, learned all of the sort of back end of why it's such an important platform for businesses to be on, how to determine whether it's a good fit for your business and your audience, and really understanding strategy for Pinterest. It's not just throwing things out there and seeing what sticks. And as Dave and Mark both said, you know, it's really got to be part of an overall strategy for your business. It's not going to be effective on a one-off. By day, I have a day job, so I'm a director of marketing for a software company in the hospitality industry. So not spa specific, but travel. I work with innkeepers, boutique hotel owners, bed and breakfast owners to help them understand, again, how they can automate their business and save money, make money, save money, and save time. So kind of all those goals that I have for my own business, I have during my day job as well. So I'm excited to talk with you all today about Pinterest and looking forward to getting started.
Welcome. Thank you, Laura. So we're going to go back to Dave and we're going to take a look at LinkedIn.
All right. So one of the things to remember about LinkedIn is, you know, if you wade into any platform, but specifically LinkedIn, you can end up spending a whole lot of time and not create a lot of results. I'm always liking it to a grocery store where you're like, I'm hungry, I should go to the grocery store. And you spend an hour shopping and you get home, you're like, but I didn't buy anything to eat tonight. Like you didn't buy dinner, but you spent an hour but the purpose was to get dinner tonight, right? And so in LinkedIn, it's really important to understand your purpose on there. And so what that means is, what's your target audience, right? So who are the people that you are trying to connect with, and which ones are more profitable than others, right? So some customers are great one-off customers, but they're not very profitable. It's and if you understand your business model and understand who your true target is, then you can customize a plan in LinkedIn. What the value of that is, being able to target, really hyper target the sort of well of profitable clients, right? And if you think about it, in my mind, those that are, it's a perfect time to be in the spa industry, right? A lot of people are saying, oh, it's crazy, it's COVID and all that. But when else would people need to be relaxed and peaceful and calm? And so as you start to target these folks, what you're really targeting is the story, how you're going to make them feel, right? It's not about them just buying a service from you, but who now needs to be more peaceful and at ease than a CEO who's facing layoffs and declines and all that. They need your services more than ever. And so LinkedIn allows you to create a conversation around those targets and around that purpose, right? So what I would also say is that that it's not you're not selling to them, right? You're giving them tips on and helping them find peace. And how are they going to feel? Well, you could do that at home. You could buy some of our products and you would feel a little better at home, or you could come in and we can help you move to that more peaceful, calm, sensation that you're getting, being more confident in yourself when you're put together. There was this whole thing around being on camera and not looking very good, and there's confidence and everybody, I need to look good. I need my eyebrows done. I need all this stuff done, right? And so now more than ever, people need that. And so you can really leverage that conversation on LinkedIn, because it's a business platform. It's professionals. So if you wade in and you just start throwing coupons and come shop here and that sort of thing, that's not going to be productive.
So I have a question, Dave. Can I jump in with a quick question?
Absolutely.
So you said something that made me think. Now, I don't know if this is possible because, I don't know very much about LinkedIn, but so I own a spa and I have a software system, and I'm able to generate a report of my top 50 spenders.
Okay.
Can I do some sort of retargeting in LinkedIn, figuring out, like, kind of connecting with these people, creating some sort of list using these people from LinkedIn? So not just importing a list, but connecting on LinkedIn with, say, my top 20 spenders, and then generate some kind of targeting of people that look like them?
Absolutely. LinkedIn, so the algorithm is actually built for that sort of thing. So let's say you take the top 50 clients and you run a demographic, they're 45 to 50-year-old women who make this amount of money, or in this position, they have this title. You can take and start to create content that's targeted to those specific people. The great thing about LinkedIn is that when you engage when you get it right and people start engaging with your content, LinkedIn says, oh, it's a woman who is this age, that is this thing, at this level, that likes this content. I'm going to show it to a bunch of other people that fit that demographic, because they probably like it too. Because LinkedIn wants eyeballs just like everybody else. So if you're creating the right kind of content and you start to hit your stride with hitting the right engagement levels with the right people, LinkedIn is actually going to help you with their algorithm. But that only comes at the personal level, right? So you have a business page, that's not going to get a lot of traction because LinkedIn wants dollars in advertising. You're going to have to pay to get that, that content through your business page out there. But if you're a spa owner and you become the face of your company and you build this organic content media distribution, channel, sort of what you've basically become, where you're coming on and saying, here's 3 tips on how to feel more confident when you go out in the morning, and it's fix your hair, do this, whatever. And people that resonate with starts engaging it, then you can leverage that to see more of those kinds of people. The algorithm in LinkedIn is actually built for that kind of thing. And that's why it's so powerful, is that it can slice and cut data in demographics any number of ways, right? So you can target areas, you could target people, certain professionals in a certain area if that's all you cover. If you were selling products and your product is nationwide, you could sell to a certain demographic, doesn't matter where they are. And so absolutely, that's one of the keys about LinkedIn.
And so what should we be sharing on LinkedIn? So, we are sharing already, probably on Instagram or Facebook. It's probably safe to say that a lot of our community are not using these 3 platforms very much. So what are some things we should share? If we're sharing on Facebook, should we send it over to LinkedIn too? I try to follow, like, for my personal brand, for my own brand, I don't share the same content ever on all platforms. I'll take versions of it, but I find LinkedIn for me is good for, like, blog posts, more kind of educational type stuff than just like, hey, join my webinar on Monday.
Right. So exactly right. So you would the temptation is to save time. I'm going to create one piece of content and just blast it out. But that's not a very wise approach. What you could take is a version of it, like you said. But what is it that your customers really, what are you giving them? What's the value that you're giving to that customer, and creating content that helps them get there, right? If you think about, why does a person come to the spa? What is it? What are they doing? There's usually some objective, right? Like, I'm really stressed. I need to get away from my kids, or I need to just find a little bit of time for myself, self-care. And so what you're doing is saying, okay, what's their objective, and what content can I create that helps them get to their objective? And then by giving that to them, I'll be their top of mind when I can't do that myself. I'm going to actually go to the spa. I tried to do a spa, foot treatment in the bathtub. It didn't work out. I need to actually go get a pedicure, right? So by giving them some self-care tips, and thinking about, how do I create content that helps them do whatever it is that they're trying to, what's their objective when they come to the spa, you can then be top of mind for them when it comes time. I was thinking about this as I was thinking about what really was the demographic, and you could target, maybe you target the opposite, right? So maybe you target men instead of women, but it's CEOs who have an assistant who are, a spouse who's been overworked or really stressed, and they see being, the spa as a way to help that person, right? So you kind of flip it. You can do both ways. So, hey, are you looking for a gift to help, someone in your life that, is overstressed, or is facing something? Spa is a good option, and here's what you could do, or give them these tips, or order this and that product, right?
So, are there any statistics about LinkedIn users? Is it more men than women? Do you know of any? It's funny because you just mentioned that, and that is a great idea, right? Because targeting men is something slightly different than what we normally do. But are there any statistics that you know of, or not really?
Yeah. So I mean, LinkedIn has all of those statistics. I think it's going to tend more toward men, just because the world we live in, and professional, especially at the C level, that's just the case, right? It's going to be tilted more to the male. I think that's obviously changing, and there's an opportunity there too, because if my wife is a professional and she's working, but she also has the stresses of home life. As much as I help, she still is mom, and right. And so at home with kids, they're interrupting her now instead of me. I bark a little harder than she barks when they get interrupted at work, right? So there's this opportunity to really help them kind of self-care. Like, I've got stress at work. I've got stress about being the perfect mom. I got stress about being, the perfect spouse. You have all these things. So there's that opportunity. And I think there's a certain set of, you could advertise or market toward men who want to help their spouses not feel that way, right? I don't mean to make her feel that way. That's how she feels. How can I help her? Well, if somebody was on LinkedIn and I came across an article that said, how to help your spouse through, or how to help someone de-stress in their life or something, that'd be very cool. And if there was a little call to action that said, hey, we'll give you a 10% discount, or we'll give you a, a gift card or whatever if you order.
Right, or value add of some sort.
Right. There's the opportunity right there.
Yeah.
The key
One
is-
quick thing for LinkedIn is that I want to make sure that all the spa B2B companies are there. For example, since people are not going to the trade shows as much, and this year they will be all virtual, I would assume and expect B2B manufacturers and vendors to be on LinkedIn. Anything spa needs to be on LinkedIn. Even if you were talking about B2C, getting people and getting them to come in, but I think the companies themselves need to be there, and they need to have a good page.
Yeah, if you're a business owner, or if you're in the business of selling to spas, you want to create, just like what you're doing, Julie, of helping business owners do what they do better, right? And being there and providing that resource. Again, it's not about waiting in and throwing up a sign, advertising, come here. It's here's how I can help you, and being organically and authentically willing to help. And through that, there's this organic, relationship that is created. And then at the right time, you'll be the right person that they think of when they need something.
Right. And, Mark, that was really a great question that I didn't think of right away, but that, vendor representatives. So a brand, usually has multiple representatives, and, it is a great place even to create relationships and sort of target people. So, when I do the SpaHive event once a year, wherever it's going to be, we always look to see like who's in the area and who's in my network on LinkedIn, and we'll message them directly, a personal message. But then we'll also research to see who's not in my network that's in the area that we can connect with. So they may not come to the event, but it's adding another connection that didn't know maybe who I was before, or what I do, or why they might want to come. So it would be the same thing for a vendor. I mean, and that's a great idea, because if you're, a vendor representative, you can really, especially in COVID world, right? You could sort of cold, using LinkedIn and help cultivate relationships, right?
Absolutely. That for example.
Well, I was just gonna say, Julie, that brings up an important point. When I see your name in LinkedIn, the thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on your profile and I'm gonna go see who you are, right? And so if you think about your profile, it really is the foundation of your LinkedIn strategy, right? So whatever you post, the whole reason you post stuff is for people to click your profile and go see who you are. So it's really critical that, one, you have an updated profile picture. Because people, if you're going to engage people, we don't engage.
They want to know you. They want to see you.
Julie, right? I want to know that person, right? So having the temptation again is to have a glamour shot from 10 years ago when we were all a little less, when we were a little more fit, a little less wrinkles, but really,
so true.
You need an up-to-date profile picture so people start to a visual relationship with you. And then you organize your banner and say, what is the thing that you can do for people? What is your niche? And again, in spas, I see a lot of people say, well, I serve everybody. That's probably not really true. Like, back to the top 50, I serve women, or I serve men, or I serve humans. I don't know, however you want to say that. I serve people that are stressed, overworked, and just looking for comfort, right? Or, whatever that is, that can be a customized thing in LinkedIn on your profile. And then in your summary, you can really then talk about what it is exactly you do, how they engage with you. Maybe there's some testimonials from your top clients that, they give you a sentence or two about how wonderful they felt after they've, gone to the spa. And then at the bottom is some way that those people who read to the bottom now can engage you, right? So how do they go find more information? This sounds perfect. I need this. How do I get that service? And so if people think about their profile and spend time really developing that, that's almost more critical than the content you create, because you can throw stuff in the wind, but if it drives people back to a profile that's not really optimized and not ready for the conversion, then it's all a wasted effort too. And so really what you're wanting to do is spend a little time up front, get your profile organized, and then with a plan on content, you can really just spend 15, 20 minutes a day, and you're kind of pedaling, but it's like going back to the grocery store analogy. If I know I'm cooking steaks tonight, I'm going to go in the store and I've got 5 things on my item. I can get those 5 things and get back home. And that's what you do with the plan when you have a target audience, and then you have, you know, a specific set of content you want to push out that's tailored to that marketing, or that to that target audience. You're in and out. You don't have to be in the program all day long. You can literally be in 15 minutes in the morning, or 5 minutes in the morning, and a little bit of time at lunch, and a little time in the evening, and all you're doing is engaging and interacting, but with the goal of driving people back to your profile, right? You comment on, you know, a stressful situation, or a stressful, you know, a business owner that's having problems with something. You comment, man, I understand that. One of the things that I love to do is pamper myself, and it helps me get through the day. Well, like, who's this person? They click on it, and it goes to, and you're a spa owner, and you have this thing, and this is why, you know, going to a spa is not a frivolous thing. It's actually a self-care, and you're actually doing yourself and your company and your family a gift. You know, you're doing them a favor by being the best version of you. That's really what you're selling, right? It's not just, my wife doesn't go to the spa because she feels guilty. She feels like she could have bought the kids shoes instead of that. And I'm like, well, but if you're the best mom because you're calm and relaxed and not overstressed about COVID and all of this stuff, that's better and more important than a pair of shoes. And so it kind of reframes that. And for whatever reason, I don't know if all women are this way, but my wife has this thought. I don't know. I guess I'm just selfish. I'm like, they can find shoes they can go barefoot. I don't care. I'm going to go take care of myself.
Go barefoot. I'm going to the spa.
But for whatever reason, yeah, my wife and I've noticed, you know, her sisters kind of have that same thing. So, but yeah,
so it's important to engage in LinkedIn as well, just as important as it is in other platforms.
Yeah. So in LinkedIn, you don't even have to create content. The beautiful thing about LinkedIn is, you can see a great piece of content, somewhat thought piece that someone put out there that's relevant to your industry or that's relevant to the situation. You can take that and put it in and post it. And that takes like 2 seconds, and it didn't cost you any time or effort or thought. You're like, that really resonates with me. It probably resonates with other business owners, professionals. I'm going to put it out there, and I'm going to help people by giving them this information. But you don't have to create it, right? So you can create content, you can share content, or you can collate, you know, you can create the question and have people post, and other people start to create that.
Engage with them. It really does happen a lot on LinkedIn, where the Trent Munday puts out a question or puts out a 30-second video, and people comment on that, get lots of comment. And Liz Terry was commenting a lot, for example, on all the spas reopening up in the UK, and there was just like you know, oodles and oodles of people, you know, 15, 20 people commenting on that. So that's great. And that's great for Liz Terry and Leisure Media, because it's a business-to-business magazine, and she's getting a lot of comments on her page. So she's a great.
Right.
Well, let's segue a little bit into Twitter.
My.
Since Mark chiming in, let's you can get some information on each platform. Although, I feel like I could spend the whole time on each platform now. I was like,
I know. They're all good. They're all good. But like Laura said, you know, everybody's on different places and that kind of thing. But for me, I started Twitter back in 2009, and for me, it was like an easy way to get information out there quickly. Because to me, I to this day, I wake up at 5 in the morning and I'm out there scouring Google within the last 24 hours as to what really happened in the spa. I would concentrate on the spa industry and my keywords of wellness, skincare, beauty, fitness, those kinds of things. So I would find stories that are even before they would get out in the magazines, in the print magazines. I would put them out there. And of course, I use my hashtags, those 4 or 5 hashtags that I have. But to me, it was just getting information out there quickly. And it's like you could read the line You could get a link back to the story, or link back to the magazines, or link back to the newspaper of where that story was. So that's to me, that was Twitter, was something fast and newsy, but also it's pictures now. It's also little short videos, but feel good things like Wellness Wednesday, things that you can throw back Thursdays that I've done, things that you can come up with ideas on how to create some short content to put out there. Because Twitter to me is short and sweet and quick.
Right.
And it's consumed fast. A tweet doesn't stay more than 24 to 48 hours of importance. And obviously that's why the Donald uses it all the time, you know, because it's quick and fast. But for spas, it could be something, announcing something that's very quick and fast, a sale coming up or something like that. But it's also could be a link to your story or something on your website. So I did put similar kind of information, but realizing that Twitter is newsy and fast. But I would say the spa information can still go on Twitter. And one thing is that, like I mentioned in the 5 tips that I wrote up for you guys, is that the hero image and the logo image should all be on there, because countless times that I go search for people's Twitter accounts and they're not filled out whatsoever. The hero image, I put it into like a seasonal image so that the same translates from Facebook to LinkedIn to Twitter. The header picture is all the same thing. It's similar. It's all branded. And then the logo is a picture of me or someone or the company that I work with. So to me, that's another place to put branded information, but it's another place to put your contact info, because that could be like someone actually going and discovering your spa because you're on Twitter. And also one thing that I also like about Twitter is that it gives you when you search for people or search, it gives you a line on search. So it gives you another impetus to more people to find you. So that's why the Pinterest to me is very important. LinkedIn is very important. All the channels are very important. But if you're going to only choose a few, choose the right ones that you want, but make sure you get the information out there and that you actually really do use them. And I know one of the other questions was, it's very hard to do everything all at once, all the channels, but you might want to try something in a smaller version of Hootsuite where you can put them all together and you can put things in there all in one place, so you won't have to go crazy trying to find everything all at once, all the different channels. So I know it can get complicated, but if you can smooth it out and pick the right channels, and Laura can help you with finding where you want to be and where your customers are going to find you, then that's the correct thing.
And Mark, I mean, who's on, sorry, Dave, who's on LinkedIn? I mean, are potential spa customers, do you think, out there on LinkedIn?
Well, it's Dave is on the LinkedIn person, but to me,
no, sorry, I meant Twitter.
On Twitter? I meant Twitter? Okay, Twitter, I like it because when I first started it, all the people who wanted information were me, because I got the information out there quicker than anybody else there. Anybody in the spa business knew who I was and knew what information. I got the stories out there quicker, and they would check my channel early in the morning to figure out what's happening. So that was my thing. But I also like B2C because it could give you stories for the people to read that might be entertaining, is how to go to your spa. And you know, around the nation, I would always promote the different spas around the nation. Is like spa in Texas, spa in Washington, spa in Florida. I would just promote everybody else's spa so that they could try spa out. But you had a question? Anybody else? Another question? What were you saying, Dave?
Well, I was just gonna say that, like you said, where it's the customer engagement, right? So I have more than once, like, I want to know something, but I'm not sure the website's up to date and I can't find the number. But I found you on Twitter and I engage with you there. That's, you know, just something I've done. And it's kind of frustrating when a brand's not there. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just a little frustrating.
Yeah, because that's why I always talk about spas being on B2C, being on B2B, being on B2Direct, because they need to be on multiple places. For a spa like in Dallas, there's the top 10 spas, but they need to be on Yelp, and they need to be on Google My Business. They need to be on Pinterest. They need to show their products on Pinterest. They need to entertain them with a recipe or a spa facial, the latest this or the latest the other. And then their company who works with them, the wholesale, the corporate office, you know, needs to be Victoria, the corporate office for, I forgot the one in Victoria, Texas, needs to be out there, because the corporate is where you could sell franchises, but then also where you could find out more information about the actual business and where you're located. Because like Massage Envy, the one in Victoria, Massage Heights, which is in San Antonio, they have multiple places. And if you don't find them, if they're not listed on the different directories, you know, in your business, it's, you know, how are you going to get the message out there that you're a massage business or you're a spa and you have all the stuff to offer? You want people to come visit you.
That's great, Mark. Well, that segued a little bit into, you know,
Laura.
You were talking about selling and things like that on Pinterest. I mean, tell us a little bit, Laura, about how we can use Pinterest, who's on Pinterest. You know, is the stigma of it suggests people pinning, you know, healthy food and, you know, they're kind of like bucket list items.
Yeah.
Is that true? And my burning question is, you know, we sell on, you know, any of these platforms, but, you know, I'm seeing a lot more selling on Pinterest now.
Yeah, so Pinterest has come a long way, I think, in the last, I think it's been around maybe a little over 10 years now.
Yep. I was the first one on, yeah.
Yeah, were you Pinterest user number one?
Oh, no, not really. But I was always on there from the very beginning, but only the excitement in is in the last year that now, hey, we can sell. You can put your products up there.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the number one misconception that I'm always chatting with people about when it comes to Pinterest, like just like you said, Julie, I'm pinning recipes, I'm pinning, you know, outfit ideas and home renovations and crafts and things like that, recipes. But the big thing to understand about Pinterest is it's really not a social media platform. It is a marketing platform. So at the end of the day, Pinterest is a visual search engine. And I do like statistics. I have a few. So the first thing besides letting people know it's a search engine, it's actually the third largest search engine. So you've got Google, of course, followed by YouTube, and then followed by Pinterest. So if you think about that, Pinterest is more popular for searches than Bing and Yahoo. So while I'm not going to say every industry,
awesome.
What's that?
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so I'm not going to say every industry is going to kill it on Pinterest. You know, you need to do your research. And I think, you know, Mark and Dave were saying that same thing. You don't want to be everywhere, because if you can't manage it all, right? So pick the platforms that work for you, where your audience is, test some things out and see if you're getting a return. One thing to understand with Pinterest is there is a strategy behind it. So if it's something that you do decide you want to test and see how it's going to work for you, I would urge you to make a commitment, you know, set some goals and commit to a certain length of time, because it does take some time to really see a return on investment. So at the end of the day, it's a visual search engine. You've probably noticed the trend over the years where you now do a Google search, and half the time, depending on what you're searching, you're going to see visual results. People want to see things. They want to see pictures. And in the travel industry, in the spa industry, hospitality, we are in an industry where visuals are something we actually have to show, which is really awesome. And similar to what Dave was mentioning with LinkedIn, you want to be there to solve the problem. So people are going to go to Pinterest and they're going to conduct a search the same way they would on Google, the same way they would on YouTube. What are they searching for? What are the things that your ideal client is searching for? Maybe this is the top of the funnel, right? This is like that very first thing where they're like, God, I'm stressed. Like, what can I do for stress relief? You know, do you have a really great article, a step-by-step? Do you have like a homemade recipe? Hey, how to do like a really quick like sugar scrub or something like that.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Get them in the DIY, and then they go, gosh, I'm going to go back there and see if they have any more recipes. Oh, I'm going. You know, I'm going to book that trip. Because it's a search engine, it's all about SEO, so search engine optimization and keywords. And honestly, we could do like an entire, there's a whole rabbit hole we can go down, so those are the things that you really do need to think about when it comes to Pinterest, is having that strategy, understanding your ideal clients. I think it was I can't remember, it was Dave or Mark that said, you really want to kind of niche down. If you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. So identify who your ideal client is and really think of that person, and speak to them when you're putting your content out there. Pin design is important because you are going to be looking at how your one little pin image is going to appear in a sea of results. It's a little bit different than Google, where they say if you're not on the top, if you're not on page one, you might as well not be there at all. So people do the scroll, but your visuals are important because they need to stand out or you're not going to get any clicks. So there's that to consider as well. And then building out your content strategy that's going to help drive people from that initial question to the content on your site. And as Julie said, they have recently added the ability for you to actually drive people right to purchasing specific items. If you sell items on your website, if you sell like retail, that's a great opportunity to drive people there. But like I said, like tips, top 10 lists, things like that, how to pamper yourself, great spa services that you should be aware of. Those are the types of things people love. Lists. They love to see the top 10.
Yeah.
And if you are a travel destination or you have lodging at your spa, put together some content that allows people to find, a variety of things to do in your area. Maybe it's 72 hours in Dallas and you include going to your spa, and now they're reading your article and then boom, they've made their reservation. So there's different kind of creative ways. I would recommend getting on the platform and searching as your ideal client so that you can get an idea of what's coming up, what your competition is doing out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple questions. Who I believe Regina's in, I think Baltimore. She said she didn't know all of this about Pinterest. Do we have a link to a spa that's on Pinterest? So just as you were talking, Laura, I just pulled up Regina, like Boston, right? Spa Boston, something, really generic. So as you're scrolling through, you have Bliss Spa Boston, Spa at Mandarin Oriental, Newbury Street. So
Bliss Spa is really good. They do a lot of it there.
Right, Belisante, which is a day spa.
Yeah.
They have a couple. G2O, which is another spa in Boston that we've worked with. But look at this scrolling page, right? As you're looking at it, which one are you going to hit? Because
they're all good.
I can scroll, and not that you can see really good, but scroll and scroll. But I'm going to look at the one that hits me, right? So if it's, whatever this is, it's a spa and it's a picture of a coffee cup, I really don't care about that, but when I'm scrolling through and I can see myself here, at this beauty in Boston, right?
Yeah. Ooh.
That's the Encore, the new Encore spa in Boston, or right outside of Boston.
Yep.
I'm like, ooh, what's this?
Yep.
I want to go there. So that's, kind of an example. And Regina just did that herself. So you're welcome. And then another question from Wanda is, what is the value to linking your Instagram account with your Pinterest account? Is that a worthwhile investment if you really don't want to commit to a Pinterest account? How does that contribute to attribution?
Yeah.
So you do have the ability to, you can link to Pinterest, you can link Instagram, YouTube. I'm trying to think if there's another one that you can link to your Pinterest account. And what that does allow you to do is if you put an Instagram post up, you can pin it to Pinterest. So if you're not looking to build out a Pinterest strategy, then it's not really something you have to do. If you do it and you never use it, it's not a bad thing either. So yeah. That's what
I do it. For Pinterest, I like to do it because I see a very nice picture and I want to promote that nice picture. So I just click, I have that on Google Chromium. You have the little the little extension, you just click it and you pick the right picture and it puts it right up into your board that you come up with already. But for a spa, I think you might want to pin it from your website so you get the direct connection and the tags and everything. For example, for a spa, I would want them to sell a product, lovely products, your private label product that you have that you can do a special on for the month of spring on Pinterest. So I would want that product to be on Pinterest, but coming from my website.
Yeah, and something else to understand too with Pinterest is Pinterest wants fresh content all the time. So similar to a lot of the other platforms, you know, their market are the people that are searching, and they want those people to always be seeing fresh content, new pins. They don't want to see the same stuff all the time. So absolutely, you know, creating products and kind of creating product pins and reworking how they look. Having the ability to pin something like an Instagram post is valuable, just so that you do have additional content that you can get out on the platform. But I wouldn't use that as like your sole source or anything. That's not going to get you the results that you're looking for.
Laura,
this is,
I don't know if this is right, but can you feel like you could be a little bit more promotional on Pinterest than you can on some of the other platforms? You know, I feel like on other platforms, you know, I always tell people not to like self-promote, but to try to engage and give education and try to create relationships. But I feel like on Pinterest, it's a little bit maybe more your opportunity to like showcase your wows.
Yeah, you absolutely can. And again, because it's a search engine, you know, this is the other like sort of comparison I like to give people. Picture your mindset when you go to Facebook. If you have a personal Facebook account or a personal Instagram account, and you're just kind of scrolling, right? Maybe you have like a little bit of downtime, or you're done with work for the day and you just want to like sort of veg out and let your brain go. And you just sort of, oh, my neighbor's kids, my best friend's dog, like these are great, the vacation pictures. When someone goes to Pinterest, they're there because they actually have a question.
They want something,
answer to. So it's a totally different mindset for the most part. Even if it is someone looking to plan their menu for the week and they want recipes, or they're renovating their new house or something like that, they're still looking for a solution or have a question for an answer. There's another component to Pinterest as well. And again, Dave mentioned, and I love this about Pinterest, is like at the end of the day, Pinterest really loves businesses because businesses are creating the large majority of their content. So they're not penalizing a business and saying, we're not going to show your content unless you're paying us. They do have a paid option called the promoted pin, where you can pay to get your pins specifically put out to people that are searching keywords and things like that, which can be really, really valuable. And the really nice part about paying to use Pinterest and promoting pins is that pins don't go away. So you may pay for 1 month to promote a pin, but 6 months from now, that pin is still floating out there. If it took off, people liked it and saved it, your audience is doing the work for you. They're continuing to share that pin out for months and months into the future. So it's great for driving long-term business
engagement.
Well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Are on Pinterest, are you rewarded if you really niche down the target thing? You know what I mean? Like, are you rewarded if you're micro targeting, like, you know, the exact person in the search, or is it better to be as general as possible on LinkedIn, or is it better to be like, really, I sell this product that's, you know, for this person? Which one's better?
Do you mean for promoting pins?
Yeah, like when you're in Pinterest, what's, you know, when you want to do that, is it better to be like on LinkedIn, you want to niche down, this is who I help. In Pinterest, is it better to be like a wide net, you know, anything wellness? You're competing with a lot of other people, or is it better to ratchet down a little bit?
No, I would say 100% it's better to niche down, because the more specific you are, the smaller the competition, and the more likely you're going to be able to be speaking to the ideal client who recognizes that you're speaking to them. So when it comes to pin design, that's shifted a lot over the years as well. Now you see most pins are not just an image. Most pins have overlay text. Most pins have a call to action on them. You want the person to be able to say, oh, that's me. I'm the tired mom with the full-time job and the other job, and I need a spa vacation. You are talking to me. You're not talking to, you know, whoever down the street who doesn't have all of those things, right? Like, that's how you're going to get me to say, oh my gosh, this is the thing for me. So same ideas, just like SEO for, for Google, for your website, the more specific your keywords are, the better chance you have of connecting with a person and having them stop the scroll and say, yeah, that's for me.
Great.
Awesome. That's a lot of information that I didn't know about Pinterest. And I know we could talk forever, I feel like, about this. I guess initially I didn't think there was so much information, but there is. And we're approaching our 4 o'clock hour here Eastern Standard Time. So I'd love to kind of wrap up. If anyone has any questions, drop them in the chat box. But I'd like to kind of wrap up with maybe your top 3 tips on where they start now. So let's say all of our audience has a Pinterest account, a LinkedIn account, and a Twitter account, right? So they have personal accounts, maybe they have business accounts. But to make an impact in the limited time that they have, because we know that now we want them to be on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, plus Yelp, plus they're maintaining a website and doing SEO and running a business, and we know how unrealistic this all is. Really get an impact, start small today. On each platform, what would be your top 3 tips for them to focus on? And let's see, if I saw Regina had a question. Do I need to open a Pinterest account for my business? So Laura, you can
Yes.
do that when we get to Pinterest. So
Okay, yeah.
Let's start with you, Dave. What can we do today? I know super important is our profile. What else can we do as some top tips to impact our business?
Right. So if you know the target audience, if you look at your business and say, my top 10 clients fit this demographic, then you can go onto LinkedIn and find people that fit that. If you're in the greater Boston area, I would target the top, CEOs and C-suite people, or I would search people that have a management or supervision title, in this area. And then I would just engage. You can watch them, follow them, see if where they commented, if they posted about being stressed, and how do I keep if it's an HR person, how do I keep my staff, stress-free? And you could chime in. Here's a self-care kit. Here's how you do that. By the way, you should take care of yourself. Thank you for watching out for people, right? So it's the value that you're bringing to LinkedIn that's going to get you noticed and engaged. So again, you don't have to create a lot of content. You just have to authentically want to be valuable and provide something to you're not selling them, right? If you can change your mindset and reframe from selling them something to, I'm going to provide you a value, and at some point you're going to come back and buy something from me. I think that's the key. Set aside, you got to have your profile and all of that. Set up that in order, know who you're targeting, and then start engaging. Spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day searching for similar people in similar roles, and then just engage. And it doesn't even have to be, hey, come buy something from the spa. It could be, that's really insightful. That's an insightful thought about whatever, right? So all you're complimenting them. Just, one of the best things you can do to, engage someone is give them a compliment. And
right. Not to share my tips or tricks, but so my assistant calls it LinkedIn stalking. And so what we'll do, and this is what I would advise you to do, and, I am not an expert on this at all, but, if your top client, and this is what I'm getting out of what Dave is saying, one of your top clients is, the director of human resources for XYZ company, you can go into the search bar in LinkedIn and you can say Boston Human Resources Director, Boston Human Resources Manager, and then boom, 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 they all come down. Then you can kind of click, see where they've commented on things. So not saying, then hit them up and send them a soliciting message saying, hey, come to my spa. But it's like, find where they're going, and see what they're commenting on, and then get in that conversation so that then they notice you and they go back to you, they drive back to you, right?
We're going to click your profile and go, who is this person? I don't know them. And then maybe you strike up a conversation. And then
Right.
if you have you're going to run a $5,000 ad in a newsprint or something, how many spa things could you give away to those directors where they come in and you give them that one-on-one, and then they're going to talk about that they're going to talk about that in their social circle. They're going to be sitting at lunch with other high-level, professional people that need to be de-stressed. Well, there's this cool spa I went to. It was awesome, right? So there's that opportunity. And I did create, I don't know if you want to put it here, but just for people that want to get started on LinkedIn, if they don't have that, I have a free giveaway that kind of walks them through setting up their profile.
Yeah, Dave, can you throw it into the chat, Dave?
Yeah, I'll put that in the chat.
And then I'll pull it out because I get a transcript after this. And everyone, just so you know, of course, you'll get a replay of this. Plus, you'll get Dave, Laura, and Mark's contact information so that you can connect with them also one-on-one and take a little bit of a deeper dive. They're all available, if you want to reach out to them and explore the conversations just a little bit further. Thank you. And Mark, so what would you say your must-do top Twitter today things are?
Well, it's like what Laura and Dave said, is to make sure that everything is on there correctly and identify your spa, identify your hero image and your logo, that kind of thing, but also that it's part of your rest of your social media thing to get news out. So to me, it must work in conjunction with your other Pinterest or your other LinkedIn properties. So it's nothing that's special or different. And also, of course, using the hashtags and being able to get the information out there quickly, because you want it, to me, Twitter's always quick to get correct and up-to-date information.
Great. And Laura?
Okay, so top three, I would say for Pinterest. Number one, you definitely want to have a business account, even if it's a business account that's toggleable off of your personal account. So if you like Pinterest personally, that's awesome. You can build a business account from there and toggle back and forth. You want to make sure you have a business account. There are some great features that you only have access to as a business, and you also don't want to confuse Pinterest by having your personal boards and pins that you search kind of getting mixed in with your business related pins and searches. So that's number one. Number two, same thing. Make sure that you fill out your profile completely and take advantage of all the different areas where you can add keywords on Pinterest. So
Absolutely.
Your username, your description, you want to make sure that any boards that you create are very keyword rich. Anytime you add pins, you want them to be keyword rich. These are the types of things that a lot of people do not complete. So you're at an advantage when you take advantage of that space there for you. And then the final one would be to enable rich pins. So when you get Pinterest set up, there's a feature called rich pins, which is going to give you a little edge on what your pins will show on Pinterest. It'll show that you're a verified business. It will help you build brand recognition. So business account, complete your profile, always use your keywords, and enable rich pins.
Awesome.
I love it. Those were some really good tips. I feel like this was like a whirlwind hour of information. And I feel like, it just probably wet everyone's whistle for these three platforms. But I think that they're probably the least understood of, platforms, especially for, our spa industry and the spa business. So I think that it kind of broke it down to be manageable and a good place for people to start. So thank you, Dave, Mark, and Laura, for being here today. Everyone, please reach out to them. They're great resources. As always, we try to bring you as much information as we can to help you now continue to build the foundations of your business so that you can be successful, now and in the future as we're re-entering kind of the workforce again. And start pinning, definitely hop on Twitter. I'm going to say I don't use Twitter that much, but I do use it a little bit. And, you know, stalk people on LinkedIn. No, just kidding.
No, but your business to be needs to be there. You have to have a company page there.
Yeah,
So.
and sell. So if you have products and you don't have you don't necessarily have to have an online store, right? You can feature the products that you have on a lot of these platforms, maybe not LinkedIn, right? I don't know if we want to sell so much on LinkedIn, but, you know, Pinterest is great. And, you know, Mark's a huge advocate of being sure that, you know, we're selling out there. So don't forget about these 3 platforms when you're trying to reach your customers. Thanks everybody for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.